What's going on, guys? Snake Eyes here playing some more Dark Souls 2, and in this video we're going to be doing a weapon showcase, and the weapon we're going to be showcasing today is the Puzzling Stone Sword. Now if you don't know how to get this weapon, I'm going to go ahead and say right now that you need the DLC to get it. You need the Sunken Crown King DLC, which is I think like episode 1 or something like that. The reason I'm saying this is because obviously in the passing months when this video's still up, it's going to be more than one DLC out, so just keep in mind Crown of the Sunken King, that's the DLC that you need. And it's inside Dragon's Sanctum. Now, I don't really know how to deeply explain exactly where to get it. It's somewhat in the beginning area, and you know that you're in the right area because it's pretty much a narrow pathway with stairs leading down. All you have to do is go down those steps, and eventually you'll come across a hole. Jump across the hole, and then you'll come across two hidden switches. One is kind of in a hole in the wall, and another is a little bit further down the steps and a little bit higher up, and it's kind of hidden, so that way you aren't really supposed to get it. Once you activate those two switches though, you can go ahead and go through the two hidden walls, and eventually you'll come across an iron lock box, and inside that iron lock box is this sword, and that's how you get this weapon. If you still have any questions on exactly where you need to go, let me know and I'll try to help you out as best as I can. But like I said, as far as explaining it goes, I'm not that great at it, so I try to do my best in this one right here. Now we're going to go ahead and go into the details of this weapon. Since I've gotten it, I've actually upgraded mine to +5, and I didn't put any infusions on it, so my base damage is at 145. It has a 120 in the counter strength, it does 25 poise damage per hit, it has 60 durability, and it weighs 2 pounds. The requirements for this weapon is that you need 7 strength and 6 dexterity, and it gets an E scaling in strength and an S scaling in dexterity. Now, there are a lot of pros to this weapon, and there's really no cons in my opinion. All in all, the entire design with the sword, then that means aesthetically, mechanically, pretty much everything about this sword is perfect in my opinion. Now I know I've said it time and time again, but this is actually my favorite weapon in the game, hands down. And like I said, I know I've said it, you know, time and time again, but this one is actually the best one. Obviously when they make more DLCs and more weapons and all that, that might change, but as of now, this one is the best. Main reason is because once you get this weapon, it has an S scaling in dexterity, which for dex builds that's perfect, and the simple fact that you only need 6 dexterity to wield it means that you're going to get a huge benefit off of the S scaling. My character right now has 40 dex, and it gets more attack on the scaling than it does on the base damage, so that's kind of something that you want to keep in mind. If you're running 40 or more, then you're pretty much going to get more off the scaling than you will off of the base physical attack. Another huge pro to this weapon is that it's extremely light. Now if this is going to be your main weapon for PvP, it being so light is actually something that's going to play into a tactic that I'm going to explain in a little bit. But it being so light is something that's pretty damn amazing, and another huge pro to this weapon is that the moveset on it is actually pretty well thought out. The reason I say that is because its one-handed movesets are a bunch of vertical attacks, which normally I don't really like, but for this weapon I can kind of understand it. It does have a couple broadsword movesets with the rolling attack doing the same attack that the Drakekeeper sword would do. But when you put it, when you two-hand this weapon, it actually has a thrusting moveset as well, which in my opinion was something that was kind of lacking with the Drakekeeper sword. I did like that it had a whole bunch of horizontals, and that's kind of something that I really did like about the Drakekeeper sword. Another sword that I really like that's in the same class of this weapon is the Sun Sword, and that one was actually another good weapon that had a bunch of horizontals, but the trick about that one was that it also had a bunch of thrusting attacks, which made it really good. This weapon has both of them, but the trick is that you need to switch from one-handed to two-handed if you want to actually use those different movesets. And like I said, for your opponent that's actually pretty good, and for you it's actually kind of really well thought out because it doesn't make it necessarily overpowered, but if you do want to access those movesets, you are going to have to change it up just a little bit. With that being said, while I'm still talking about the moveset, the R2s on this weapon are actually something that I really do like. I like how the one-handed R2s cover a wide sweeping area, and then right after it does a thrusting move. That's something that I really did like, and that's actually something that I really did use. And at first I thought it was just for show. I thought it was just going to be something to, I guess, kind of look cool while you're doing, but when I was using it, it was actually pretty effective, and it was something that I started using to kind of keep people off of balance. and it's kind of something that people don't really expect, because they see a short sword like this one, they don't expect it to have so much range. So when you finally get outside the range where you can finally use those moves and you still hit them, that's kind of something that throws them off tilt. And like I said, it's kind of something to use as a surprise move. You don't want to spam it, because then people will start realizing it, then they'll start spreading themselves out a little bit further. But for the most part, using it here and there is something that you're definitely going to find that it's pretty reliable. And like I said, that's something that I really did like, and I actually used it a lot in these matches. One of the other things that I started doing was that, since this weapon was the main weapon that I was using to get footage off of, I wasn't using anything else. And my character as it is pretty much wearing some medium to light armor, not really using anything heavy. So what I ended up doing was I used the Ring of Blades, and then I also equipped York's Ring, which, if you don't know what York's Ring does, it pretty much boosts your base attack the lighter your equipment load is. So using a weapon this light, using armor that's pretty light, I actually got a pretty decent bonus off of my base attack, which made this sword actually pretty good. York's Ring has actually become one of my favorite rings to use, and I actually use it pretty often. I don't really recommend using it if you're going to be anywhere between 60 to 70%, because you don't really get a huge bonus. But if you're going anything under than that and you have a spare ring slot, then that's something that I definitely recommend checking out, because for the most part, when I notice that I'm about 60% and under, I get more or less about 50 to 75 added points in attack damage, which that's pretty much essentially another Ring of Blades. So that's kind of something that you might want to keep into consideration. If you're wearing light armor, if you're using a light weapon, you might want to pick up this ring. It's not only good for the Puzzling Stone Sword, but it's good for a lot of other light, fast weapons. And in all honesty, it pairs well with this sword, and that's kind of why I mentioned it. All in all, I can keep going on for days about this weapon. I really do love it. I love the design of it. I love the looks of it. I love the mechanics of it. Pretty much anything you can think of about this weapon, I really do enjoy. It's something that I do recommend picking out, and I couldn't do weapon showcases for the DLC weapons because I wanted to do it on the PC. Hands down, once I completed the DLC on the PC, this was the weapon that I knew I was going to showcase right off the bat. Now, there are a lot of good weapons that the DLC released, and that's something that I'm going to start covering within these next week or so. But this one was the one that I wanted to do first, and it wasn't going to be any other weapon. If I was going to release a weapon showcase, it was going to be of this weapon, because I believe that it's that good. But that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. In all honesty, I've been doing a lot of different videos for the past week or so, and while I did enjoy doing a lot of crazy projects that I never really done before, in all honesty, it's good to be back doing weapon showcases. That's kind of where I got my big start. That's kind of where people started subscribing to me for. And like I said, taking a break from it was a real needed thing, but coming back to it is also something that I've actually really come to appreciate. And like I said, what better way to come back than to introduce a weapon like this that I honestly believe is a pretty good one. So like I said, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, take care.